This is what I'm going to tell you. This is as big as it gets. This case, it's as scary as it gets. It's as horrific as it gets. And it puts all of us in a fear zone like no other.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Cody Thomas. We are still in Michigan this hour. Sentencing rolls on for Ricardo Castillo. The 25-year-old former Marine recruiter is set to learn his fate after pleading no contest to charges related to a 2024 home invasion, which included a knife attack on an 11-year-old girl. Let's get you back in the court now where we left off as the defendant himself addresses the court.
Find the words, but to be honest, I wanted to come from God. When I was incarcerated, there were so many feelings, so much regret, remorse. Just, I couldn't explain it. And sometimes I still can't explain it. I'm not trying to justify myself. I just want to ask for forgiveness, man. And I want to look at you, but I would like to ask for forgiveness for the families. So if you don't mind, to be honest, from the bottom of my heart, I ask for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. I can't imagine all the nightmares. I can't imagine anything that you have felt for the past 15 months. But I'm sorry. I'm truly from the bottom of my heart. I was a lost person, and I have found God. It made me realize how much I truly am lost. So, I ask for forgiveness for all of you, for both families, for the whole community of Rockford. I ask for forgiveness. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
All set? Okay. All right, well, Mr. Castillo, at this point, you are 25 years old, and you only have one prior misdemeanor on your record. And I know it's already been alluded to what happened in this particular case, which occurred back in June of last year, where you entered a home of people that you did not know. You got a knife from their kitchen, and then you went into their child's bedroom where you proceeded to remove your pants and underwear and stabbed a visiting child who did not live in the home. You stabbed her repeatedly. And then you passed out, apparently because you were drunk or on drugs or both. I really don't know. This case is disturbing on so many levels. It's disturbing that you would go into these people's home that you didn't know, that you would arm yourself in their home, that you would almost kill a child who's only trying to sleep over with her friend. Your attorney's comment that you believe the world was ending makes it even more disturbing, in my opinion, because that means that if you think the world is ending, then you decide to engage in this behavior, and that's how you want to behave because the world is ending. I don't get it. I don't know that is something that anyone could really understand. And Mr. Castillo, no matter what I sentence you to, it is obvious to me from the victims in this case, from their point of view, that there is no sentence that is long enough. Nothing I do, no matter if I go to the top of the guidelines, sentence you to 1,000,000 years, there's no sentence to them that's going to be long enough. What you engaged in was just what comes to mind is a real life horror movie or horror show where you're stabbing this child. It's just by the grace of God that she wasn't killed. But this is something that she's...
So we heard him speak to the court, wanting to ask for forgiveness. Do you buy it? I don't know if I do, but coming up, we'll see if the judge does, because she decides the fate of Ricardo Castillo. Stay right here on the other side of the break.
Live on Ion, 8 teams, 2 divisions, 1 chance to shine.
I'm that boss. Talking this might get you caught.
Who will own the fort? Watch the Elevance Health Women's Fort Myers tip-off starting Friday at 11 on Ion.
The disappearance of Anna Walsh.
Her husband now charged with her murder.
All eyes on this accused killer.
The disappearance of Anna Walsh murder trial. Live coverage begins December 1st on Court TV.
This was a matter of not being, not just not faithful, but this is a matter of somebody that attempted to protect both foreign and domestic, but actually became the terrorist. And that's what we've seen in our family, an act of terrorism within Rockford, as Dan shared, within the community, the ripple effect that it's had on the family. And just the toll it's taken. The act of terrorism isn't just the stabbing and ill will towards another life. It's, to me, more the intent of trying to take something so precious, the intimacy from a child.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm, of course, Cody Thomas. We're heading back to Kent County, Michigan for the sentencing of Ricardo Castillo. Now, Castillo, a 25-year-old former Marine recruiter, is being sentenced after pleading no contest to charges related to a 2024 home invasion involving the stabbing of an 11-year-old girl, but thankfully, the child survived the knife attack. Let's head into the hearing now as the judge delivers the sentence for Ricardo Castillo.
For the rest of her life. Her parents are going to have to live with this for the rest of their life. Her friend who invited her to sleep over has to live with this as well. So there's just this cascade of this domino effect of your actions on this particular occasion, which interrupted and probably in some respects ruined the peace of mind of this child, of her friend, of this family whose home you invaded, as well as the community at large. This act, or these actions, there's not really one act, it's several acts that all build up to what resulted in this case that you're here to be sentenced for today. I appreciate the victim's comments. I appreciate Mr. Timmer's restraint in not engaging in deadly force, which, as he stated, would have been within his purview to do. I appreciate the comments of this victim that you stabbed, of her stepfather, who's also eloquently explained the effect that this case has had on his stepdaughter, which, again, I don't even know how you put any of these things into words, because it's just inexplicable, it's tragic. And having said all of that, Mr. Castillo, your guidelines for the assault with intent to murder are 135 to 225 months. For the home invasion, they're 51 to 85 months. And for the criminal sexual conduct second degree, they're 7 to 23 months. What I am going to do is sentence you at the top of the guidelines. I don't believe sentencing you at the bottom of the guidelines is appropriate, nor do I believe that throwing you in prison and throwing away the key is necessarily the correct approach either, given the fact that you are only 25 years old. So because of all of that, what I am going to do is sentence you to 225 months to 40 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections for the assault with intent to murder charge, 7 to 20 years for the home invasion first, and for the criminal sexual conduct second degree, I'm sentencing you to 1.5 to 5 years, and there's also requirements that you comply with the Sex Offender Registration Act with respect to that charge. You will receive credit for 530 days that you've already served. These sentences will run concurrently with each other. I'm ordering restitution. I didn't get a request or amount of restitution, but in the event that there is some requested, I'm ordering $0 to both families involved in this case. And should there be a restitution hearing where there's restitution involved, then I'll make that determination at that time. There's also a $60 DNA fee, $204 state minimum cost, $130 crime victim rights assessment, $1,000 in court costs that you'll be responsible for. And Mr. Castillo, you do have 42 days to appeal your sentence. And if you'd like a court-appointed attorney to represent you in an appeal, you have 42 days to make that request. And I do hope that this provides just another block or another stepping stone towards healing for the community and for these victims, and you too, Mr. Castillo. All right, thank you. No, it isn't. We're all set. Thank you.
God bless everybody.
All right, thank you.
All right, still with us, trial attorneys Krista Ramey and Marlo Greer. Krista, I want to start with you. And before we talk about the actual sentencing, I want to talk about him addressing the court. Mr. Castillo here, 25 years old, wants to ask for forgiveness, talking about so many feelings while he's behind bars, saying sorry, saying he's found God, telling people, I'm lost. Krista, I'm lost. What did you make about his statement there?
Cody, how many times do people find Jesus right at the time of sentencing? I mean, I know a lot about this area as well. I went to school at Grand Valley State University in this area. My folks are from here, Grand Rapids. This is a very religious community. There are more churches in this town, both Catholic and Protestant Christian Reformed, than I've ever seen in any community. That came across to me as phony baloney. I am sorry. I did not, that getting down and getting on his knees, I did not buy it. I did not think it was credible. And I don't think if you're going to have a client do that, it is advisable to allow them to do that because it doesn't seem real. And you have to, when you're talking to a family that you just did that to, you better come at it in a very authentic way. And this young man did not do that.
Marla, let's take a listen to a little bit of the statement on behalf of the victim again, just to remind our viewers and get another listen here real quick. Let's take a listen.
Your Honor, my name is... First, I will start with how this crime impacted me at school. In class, I felt embarrassed. I knew my friends knew what happened to me. It was on the news. My teachers knew, and even my principal. Kids in younger grades and my classmates. These people, knowing that I was stabbed, really affected me. I wanted to go outside and play, but I couldn't. I love climbing trees, riding my bike, and being active, but I couldn't do any of that. The night this happened, I remember being in a lot of pain on the floor. I remember seeing all my blood everywhere. I never would have guessed an innocent sleepover would have left me in the hospital with bad injuries. I don't want anyone else to go through what I did and have gone through. Please keep this man in prison. I'm asking for the maximum time in prison. This crime left me shook, frightened, horrified for my life, and afraid. Thank you for letting me share with you what happened.
Now, Marla, we sit there and listen to the powerful, the emotional impact behind that statement, but yet we heard the judge there say during sentencing, she said, throwing away the key isn't appropriate because Mr. Castillo is 25. I don't know how I feel about that, Marlo. If that was my daughter, if I had a daughter in that situation, I'd want this man under the jail. What do you make of that?
I am certain that that is what they thought, especially, like you said, when he dropped to his knees. When he turned around and addressed the family, I actually thought, oh, smart, because you know his attorneys told him to do that. Obviously, his attorneys did not tell him to drop to his knees. The one thing that I think will comfort the family is that she did sentence him at the top of the guidelines. However, she did give him a little bit of a break by making those sentences concurrent as opposed to consecutive, because that is what she could have done. So instead of having it served all at the same time, she could have stacked them up so that the key was thrown away. I don't know that she was very swayed by his statement at all. But what else is he going to say other than I'm sorry? And, you know, I agree there are a lot of people that say that they have found God. And if he has truly become a better person and is going to become a better person over the next 18 to 40 years, then that's great. And he can be rehabilitated and put back into the community. But at this point, I think because of the age of the child, that's just too high. You know, emotions are too high to even consider that at this point. And so I think it was a good thing that the judge did sentence him at the top of the guidelines.
And Marla, you touched on it there, talking about, you know, maybe if he does become better, you get rehabilitated and tossed back into the community, maybe becoming a productive member of society. Don't know if that'll happen, but Krista, my question kind of revolves around that, because we often see the debate when it comes to things like this, the debate between rehab versus punishment. And in a case like this, where, you know, as bad as it is, his defense, you know, could more or less say something, well, you know, this is so heinous, this is so horrific, but, you know, maybe he was just having an episode, no one died. Is there any sort of argument as far as, you know, we talked about mental health, is there any sort of argument about mental health rehabilitation that could be made, or when it comes to a crime this heinous, is it all just kind of in the same pot?
Well, you know, it's interesting because, you know, what is the reasons for this? Is it because he's a sociopath, or is it because he's a combat veteran? I don't know if he served in combat, by the way. I'm just saying, because I'm throwing that out there because he's a Marine. But I know that, you know, members of our military do experience some, you know, and see some horrific things, and it does, you know, impact their mental health when they come home, and they need a lot of help at times. And sometimes we're not very good at it as a society in giving that help to them. But, you know, what was the cause here? I don't know that we know this in this particular case, but I think that, you know, there is attention to both, and that is how it should be. His mental health should be a part of his, you know, the minimum of 18, almost 19 years he'll be in prison, versus also it is there, he is being punished, and, you know, he's going to have to be a registered sex offender, but he's going to be a relatively young person when he comes out if he does the work and is not in for the full 40 years. So I think that there is work for him to do, and it should be done.
Krista, real quickly here, just real yes or no question. Was this the appropriate sentence in your eyes of the legal system?
I think it was.
And Marlo, same question to you. Was this appropriate the way you see it, how it all played out? Do you think this was the appropriate sentence for Mr. Castillo here?
If it were me, I would have run them consecutive.
Well, there you have it. Two of our better minds here, better minds than me.